Yeah.
How can I help you?
Hello. I believe the way we prove that God is real is by looking at the human body and its
Mm.
capabilities and how it heals itself alongside the universe and alongside how the world is here. Because where would we be? Where would God be? How could God be here if the world, do you see what I'm saying? Like, God can't be
Yeah.
here if the world wasn't here.
Right. Well, not right, but your point is again, come like the last person. You have a very limited scope of the mechanisms that explain why we are this
No,
way
I'm
on our
saying
body.
it from a simple, a
Yeah, it's too
non
simple.
a
It's too simple.
non-confrontational way.
Yeah, it's too simple, right? The questions you're asking are too
Non-confrontational.
simple because there's a point where you have to be asking, you have to understand more about the world around you. Like when you ask about the body, our bodies have mechanisms that can heal themselves, sure, but they also have mechanisms that can destroy themselves, right? Look at autoimmune diseases, look at allergies.
Well, that's
Our
actually
body,
another
hold
way
on,
God can
hold
provide for
on,
us.
hold on, hold on. There are lots of flaws in our so-called design. I mean, we can point to all kinds of atrocities in our biology, just as we point to good things about our biology, we can point to bad things. So you have to take all this into consideration when you're trying to debate someone like me, because I'm just going to dismiss you and say, well, we know the mechanism.
Do
It's
what you
called
may. I
evolution,
mean,
right? That's what makes
that's neither
us.
here nor there. The
I'm sorry.
universe, okay, so what you're saying is, okay, the universe, everything has polarity. Good, bad, evil, positive, it's polarity.
God and no
That's
God,
really
right?
irrelevant.
God, no God. Does God have polarity?
We have polarity
Oh, so everything has
because
polarity
of God.
except for God. So everything has polarity except for God. See,
Well,
this is
why
special
would God
pleading.
polarity? Why would God?
What?
Makes absolutely no sense. God doesn't need polarity. God doesn't need what we need. He
Okay, great. So
equipped
then
us to
why
be
can't
the
we
way
save
we
a
are.
step? Okay, okay. Then why can't we save a step and say the universe doesn't need polarity and just scratch out God, right? We don't need God.
Why would we do that? Because that's injecting an opinion or something that we would find a reason to be able to backlash with that. You know what I mean? Like using the universe is full. It's full. It's everything we can't be. It's everywhere. Does that make sense? Like
Okay.
we are.
I understand it's everywhere, but I'm sorry, but this doesn't get you to God existing, right? The universe is big and vast. How does this demonstrate God exists?
Instead of asking how is instead of saying is God imaginary, ask a different question. Ask the question is what how are we here to begin with? What
Evolution.
made us come here?
So nobody made us come here. We didn't get here from a space Uber, right? Said here's Earth, and they pushed us onto the planet. That's not what happened. There it
So
doesn't
you're
need to.
saying your
Hold on,
theory of
then.
evolution.
Hold on. Just listen for a second. You're presuming that there is some reason why we are this way, why we are here on this Earth, which is a good question, but unfortunately, there might not be an answer to the question. Perhaps we were always here and we're just part of this bigger process, this
But from what?
larger cosmic evolution,
But
and one in which we are not significant. There
so
doesn't
but
need
from
to be
what?
this
We were
inherent
here from
notion.
what? Are you
Ma'am,
saying we're just organisms?
if you would just hold on and listen, please. We might be in a larger landscape of the unknown, vast darkness and void, and one in which we might not be significant in the larger scheme of things. Are injecting your own egotistical notion that we as humans are somehow the reason why we're here, the reason why things exist. Maybe we're just a small fraction of what's out there. We don't know. There doesn't need to be a reason why we're here. There doesn't need to be a God. We could just be a flunk, a cosmic rarity, a cosmic chance. There doesn't need to be.
Albert Einstein believes that we are here based off of God. A lot of science people believe that. A lot
This
of people
okay.
believe.
Well, I'm sorry, but this is an appeal to authority. By the way, he didn't actually believe in God, the God you believe in. But more importantly, this is appeal
I
to
don't believe in the
authority.
God you think. I don't believe in the God of the Bible. That's man-made God. I believe in the God that created the universe,
Okay,
that
well,
allowed
to
existence
me,
to come into existence.
okay, well, I'm sorry, but maybe saying, what created the universe is a bad question. Maybe there is no creation. Maybe existence always was. That's why you're setting up a false dichotomy by saying either we were created or God doesn't exist. It's a false dichotomy.
Well, okay.
I'm
So
sorry.
if it's a false dichotomy, then how is your theory any better? You're saying we just was. We're just here because of nothing.
That's not my theory. That's a possibility that you're discounting.
Okay, and anything's a possibility, but I see the proof as we are alive. Our bodies prove that we are here and that our bodies are capable of handling diseases, infections. We just have never really gotten to the scope of things.
Our bodies can heal themselves up to certain thresholds and parameters, right? And there's an evolutionary reason why we heal ourselves, because we need to survive. If we didn't, we would die we would die in bigger numbers. So we actually are able to heal ourselves and survive in sufficient enough numbers to propagate our species further. That's all evolution cares about. Evolution only cares about can you have babies or not. It doesn't care about anything else. And that's
Okay,
what
but
allowed us to
okay, so
have more
you're saying
babies.
evolution created a woman's organs to help her produce a baby.
Yes, all of our organs are the products of billions of years of chemical changes that we can see in our DNA. It's an amazing thing.
So nothing created us. We
No,
would just
we
be.
we are made of the molecules and particles of the universe, and we temporarily come together in certain configurations due to chemical laws. And that's what we seem to be. It's fascinating. It really is.
I get what you're saying, and to some degree, that kind of makes sense. But here's the thing: I feel that you are trying to debunk the theory of God because you have a feeling yourself. Because
No,
you don't
I'm not
want
trying to
that. Because
debunk
somehow
God. I
you've
don't,
already convinced yourself to believe that there's no God.
no, I'm open to there being a God. I just don't see good reason to think that
Because
there
I
was
see a lot of
somebody.
science. Because Billy Carson, okay,
No,
he's
no, we're not
saying,
talking about Billy Carson. No. See, you're going to give evidence of God or you're going to go away, right? Like I'm not
no,
trying to be rude here, but
Billy,
I
no,
don't care
no,
about
because
abuse of authority.
you
I
gotta
want
let
evidence.
you gotta let the story play out. If you're not willing to do that, you shouldn't be asking people to come on here.
I'm sorry, but Billy Carson's not evidence. I'm sorry. Johnny Carson, want evidence of God.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hi, what do you got for us today?
Okay, so first of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I never really do this, but I saw the conversation that was going on with how the sister was talking about how, like, she felt like you were debunking God and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, the key word is she felt. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, do
your
you agree?
feelings aren't.
Are you a theist? Do you believe in God, sir?
I do. I believe there's one God, and I believe in the messengers of God. I believe in angels. I believe in
Okay, great. Fantastic.
there's
So
going to be
what's your evidence of all this stuff?
my evidence personally to my nature is the Quran. Quran is a miraculous nature example for me.
Okay.
In
So
the Quran,
the Quran.
Allah says that we have yes. So like in the Quran, Allah says in the Quran He says we have created this book in Arabic so that you may gain wisdom. You know what I mean? So like it's
Oh,
just like
okay.
how
And what
you're
does
right
the
now. You're
Quran say? So
kind of
why
like
does the Quran mention the firmament, which is the solid dome around the earth? Why does the Quran say that stars can fall from the sky, which can't happen? Why does the Quran get so many things
I'm not
wrong?
sure which verse you're talking about, but
68:2.
I mean, like you're asking a question, so I just wanted to share my humble
Well,
opinion.
look.
Um,
You are here. Look, Muslims. A lot of Muslims think this way. They're so convinced that the Quran is from Allah. First, you haven't shown that the Quran is from Allah. You just say it. Second, we can point to lots of fallacies in the Quran, lots of bogus claims about the earth and the sun and the moon. and that it's split in half, and that's nonsense. There's no good reason to think
Uh,
the Quran is
I
a
would, I would,
perfect
I
thing.
would, I would kind of need you to produce those verses, brother, because the Quran, every time it states something that was 1400 years ago revealed, uh, today, just like 100 years ago, scientists are just confirming it. Like, yes,
Oh,
it's true.
really? Oh, really? Give an example of something that we just discovered with the Quran.
Okay. In Surah Rahman, I believe it's chapter 25. Allah talks about how the seas do not mix, and
But
how
they do.
if you
But
were
they do.
if you were to go towards yeah, but if you go towards the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean, there's a there's a certain place in the world where the water density is different from the other half of the water, and they don't mix.
What you're referring to is not a wall or a barrier in the ocean like the Quran says. What you're referring to is runoff from glaciers in the North Atlantic. That's what you're watching, and you're
Hmm.
looking at the fresh water interacting with sediments from
Right.
the water that came from the land. So sediments, bacteria infiltrate the waters, so it turns a different color. So you see the picture, and you look at two different colors of the ocean. It's just runoff that was recent from the glacier melt. It's not a
Okay. Then
barrier,
how about
and all
this?
seas
Yeah,
mix
I'll
eventually.
apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
All seas mix eventually. There's no such thing as
Okay.
barriers in the ocean.
So okay, like that's one perspective as looking at it. Like the sister, she was talking before me, and like all I could do when she was talking and when you were responding to her, all I could think about was this chapter in the Quran where Allah says, "Deaf, dumb, and blind. It doesn't matter if you warn them or not; they're still not going to believe." You know what I mean?
That's
So
and
like
Dr.
I think
Seuss said, "Cat in the Hat, same I am. I like green eggs and ham." Okay, congratulations. You're just citing
Dr.
words from a story. Anybody can do that.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like it takes the person's heart, whether I mean, like at the end of the day, that person has to make that choice whether or not they want to believe that or not. You know. So
Well, I'm
that's
sorry, but I don't
I just wanted.
choose. No, 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 that's incorrect. I don't choose what to believe in. The evidence is what convinces me. I don't choose to believe in things. I'm convinced with the evidence. The evidence demonstrates those beliefs to be accurate or not. That's how we are
Huh.
supposed to operate as skeptics. And unfortunately, you don't have that feature. So for some reason, you have succumbed to your emotions. Oh, it feels good to me. It feels good that Allah is real, so it must be true. That's not good reasoning, right? We want
Do,
evidence.
do,
We
do
want
you
facts.
do you have children?
No.
Do you have children? No. Okay. So I promise you, bro. God willing, if you ever have kids one day, you won't believe that there's a creator, bro. All right. When you see this beautiful child enter this
This is
world,
motivated reasoning. I'm sorry, but this is anybody can say
something
this.
will. Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to share my 2 cents, but I appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, what I would do is learn more about science, right? Oh, he left. Yeah, he proved my point for me. Because the last statement he made, oh, when you have kids, you'll figure out God. That's an appeal to emotion, right? You're just saying, oh, when I see a child, it feels great. So there must be a designer. And I understand that. Guys, I look around the universe. I'm amazed by it. It's amazing. It's quite a fantastic place we live in. But the problem is when you start assuming that because it's amazing to you, therefore there must be a God. That's the problem, right? I understand babies are amazing and human life is incredible. I love life. It's a great experience. But it doesn't give you the right to say there must be a God because I like it, right? And unfortunately, we live in a world, it seems to be that there isn't somebody behind it. It seems to be that things happen through natural reasons. But if there is a God, I'd love to see evidence for that. I'm open to it.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Barely. You sound like you're in the ocean. Come back when your Wi-Fi is better or your connection's better, okay?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. What do you got for us today?
So I can't prove you wrong, but I can just say that the statement is one that we can say we don't know. So you say God is imaginary. The fact is that we don't know what God is. So I can't really prove you
Okay.
wrong.
Do,
I
do you,
can
do
say
you
we
believe
don't
in
know.
God though?
Um, do I believe in God? I'm at a crossroads right now. I think I do. It's because I know now that it's more about choosing to believe it and choosing to have faith. So I don't know, but
Yeah,
it's just
and
about
that's okay.
choosing.
That's good. I mean, at least you're a bit honest there. You're saying I don't know, but
Yeah.
um, I would be cautious before you start choosing your beliefs.
Right. Right.
Because what if you choose the wrong belief? What if your choice is motivated by your emotions or your wants and desires? And it seems
Right.
like that's what typically people choose to believe in, things that sound good to them. I mean, it's
Right.
not a coincidence why people don't believe in evil gods. They always typically believe in the guy that is going to save them and give them treats and give them rewards, right? It's
Mm.
always the human personified being. It's never the being that is counterintuitive and hates us. So
No.
there seems to be a reason to me that people believe in these things. It's out of ego. It's out of desire. And to me, that's why I never choose to believe because my bias can get in the way. I always follow the evidence, and wherever it leads, that's where I go. I never just follow my intuition only.
Right. 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 And I know that that's very much true. The first part of that you were saying was a very much true, but there's another half that I've learned from growing up religious and knowing so many religious people, Catholic and Christian, that there's another side where it's difficult and they put themselves through these difficult times and believe that it's supposed to be difficult and that the faith is supposed to be difficult. So it's like you hope you get rewarded, yes, 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 but then you also have to suffer, you suffer, right? So that's what's also very odd to me, so that's where I'm like,
Humans love sacrifice. This
yeah,
is what we do. This is how we revere people, right? It's like we see somebody who sacrifices as great, as heroes, as honorable. This is why we have it all in almost all of our mythologies. Almost every myth, every god has somebody sacrificing or defeating somebody in a war, or they're the dictators or they're the strong ones. Why do we never believe in the weak god that doesn't sacrifice? Because
right,
nobody wants to believe in that one. No, nobody wants to believe in the weak god. We want
yeah,
to believe in the strong one that makes a sacrifice. So I think that's another motivated reasoning there going on. So
right. Right. Well, hey, thanks for letting me on. This is my first time ever being on live, and it was interesting. But thanks again, man. I appreciate it. Good talking to you.
yeah, no problem. Keep learning. Keep learning. Stay curious. You know,
Hey, my brother, how you doing?
great. What do you got
You see, God is the image.
on my phone?
On your screen, I see.
Oh, you're gonna say I'm God?
No, because I see on your phone, say God is an image. Can you prove me
An
wrong?
image? What do you mean image?
Well, what I see on your post, you still God is image. Can you prove me wrong?
Okay.
But
Oh,
when I
he's
saw,
saying imaginary. Okay. Yeah.
Yo, what up, bro?
What?
Hello.
Hi.
So what? So why do you believe that God is imaginary?
There's
Like,
no evidence. There's no evidence to me. Do you have any?
I mean, what do you mean? There's no evidence. There's a whole book full of evidence. You're blind?
Okay. So where in the Bible or the Quran is there evidence of a God?
What do you mean, bro? You're alive, aren't you? What do you think? What happens when you die?
Your body decays and rots away and turns into
Your
dust.
soul? And your soul?
What
What happened
soul?
to your soul? What do you mean
Where's the
soul?
soul? Where I don't know. I don't see a soul.
It's, so you don't. Man, it's a waste of time talking to you, bro. Swear to God.
Guys, look, I know from your perspectives. It's like, oh, how can this person not believe in God? I mean, it's obvious. We have souls. Who made us? And these are questions that we've been asking for thousands of years. I mean, these are good questions. But we have learned a lot about these questions since 2,000 years ago. We've learned a lot, okay? And as Neil Tyson says, God seems to be this ever-receding pocket of scientific ignorance. It seems to be that the more we learn about the world around us through science, the less need there is for God. So this is where I'm at. Right? I live in a world where things happen and we can describe them just fine without God. We don't need God to explain anything about the world around us. And that's the predicament we're in. People believe in God, people don't. What's the reasoning? What's the crux of the reasoning here? That's what we're trying to get to. And it's important because this is people's foundation, right? People have based their entire lives on their belief in God. So if we can shake that or change that, or we can get somewhere, it might bring more clarity to people's minds, because it is confusing. So,
Hello. Hey, how's it going, man? How are you?
great. How are you?
Doing good, good. Hey, I I understand what you're saying. Now I just want to ask you a question. So when you look at a building,
Mhm.
is that evidence for you? A building that it's physical evidence, correct?
Yes.
So okay, so the physical evidence of a building, right? It's a proof of what? A builder. Are we good?
Well, it's evidence that there was a builder in the
Right.
context of human society. Yes.
Basically a intelligent being making this building because it
Okay.
takes intelligence, right?
Right.
So let's talk about a painting. A painting is a proof of a painter. The painting it just doesn't happen by itself.
Right. Of
So what I
course.
believe,
Of course.
creation, human beings, birds, the flies, everything that we can see, it's proof of a creator.
Okay.
Something
Yeah. And
smarter than us
this
had
is
to
a
make it
very,
happen.
very, this is a very, very appealing argument to make, right? I look at a watch, I see a watchmaker. Who's making the watch? I see a building, there must be a builder. If I see a painting, who's painting it, right? I look at a human body, which is even more complex than the painting. Well, then there's got to be somebody making me, right? Well, the problem is I'm getting echoing. I muted you, sir. The problem is that you can't blanket the entire world and say that everything must be designed because in some instances we have evidence of designer. I mean, would you look at clouds and think that there's somebody in the clouds making the rain come down? Is there a cloud maker? Is there a rain maker in the clouds? Does every volcano, like, for example, you're saying every painting has a painter. Well, does every volcano have a volcano man bringing up the magma? No, right? Does every earthquake have a earth shaker? No. Does every river have a river digger? No. Does every snowfall have a snowmaker? No. There are things in the world that don't need design. And that's why we can point to things in nature and say that there's a natural reason why those things evolved, just like humans. That we know the mechanism of that makes us human. It's called evolution. And as far as I can see, evolution does not require an agency or a person or a god to make us. Right? It's purely natural as far as I can say. So I just unmuted you.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand, man. And the way we look at God, he's a almighty, all powerful, and we just believe. A lot of times I try to understand everything, and my faith tells me I don't need to understand everything as long as I believe
Okay.
that what
Okay.
I believe.
So
Thank you.
did God design? Are you Christian?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did God design everything in the world?
Everything.
Okay. Every grain of sand he designed.
Correct.
Every cancer cell.
That's right.
So God designed cancer, right?
Yes, sir. It's for a
Okay.
purpose. Yes, sir. Everything.
Okay, great. So God designed everything, including cancer, bacterial infections, syphilis, genetic mutations which render people disabled for their entire lives. God designed all those disgusting atrocities that make people suffer. Is that correct?
Yes.
He allowed it. Okay, but did he design it or did he allow it?
Yes, he had to precisely design everything for a purpose.
Okay, and what's the purpose of babies having skin cancer?
All right, what this all goes back to the fall of man, to the one time where man messed up the whole thing. And it wasn't God's plan, but
Okay.
we have a choice, and that's why we have living in this fallen world for a long time. Man is just a corruption.
Okay, so what exactly how did we fall? What did we do bad?
Basically, we decided to go on our way of thinking instead of following God's instructions for our own good being.
What was that action? What did we do?
Basically, let me just give you an example. Me as a father, me as a dad, a lot of times my kids don't understand, that they have to do certain things certain ways. When I ask, they may question it, they may ask, they may not want to do it, but me as a father, I'm always going to be doing everything that is going to help
Okay,
them to
sir,
do the
I
right
understand
thing.
that, but what did we
Right.
do that God decided to give us cancer for?
It's all about disobedience for,
Okay,
for uh,
so
yeah.
let's say your child disobeyed you. Okay, would you give them cancer for that? Is that fair to you? Is that a fair punishment to give them cancer?
No, obviously no.
Okay, there it is. Then it is
Yeah.
not a fair punishment to give a child cancer or anybody cancer. That's not fair, even to you. So why would God set up such a configuration, one in which we suffer greatly for unfair reasons?
Yeah, the way that I look at things is it's very simple. Obedience is always going to bring always going to bring good things, good decisions. But
Okay,
there's always
so let's
consequences.
obey Hitler. Let's obey Stalin when they say to go ahead and do all these terrible things. How about in Exodus, where God says we can own slaves, or Leviticus, where he says go ahead and kill those people, commit genocide, in Samuel, 1 Samuel 15. I can point you to many atrocities that your God commands
Yep.
and expects us to obey. How can you possibly justify all these atrocities that God commanded his people to do?
Father would discipline his children for his own good. A lot of times it doesn't need to make sense, but it's for their own good. I
What's
would
the good? What's the good? What's the purpose in God commanding genocide?
Just like earlier what you talked about, that human beings have been evolving. Well, the way of God rescuing human beings have
Sir,
have
can
been
you please
evolving.
look? You're going on a tangent. Can you track back to logic here?
Go ahead.
What's the purpose of God commanding genocide in 1 Samuel 15?
I just can't question God, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So you can't question God, but you claim to know he exists, even though there are questions that are unanswered. That seems to be, to me, irresponsible, right? To just simply go, yeah, let me believe in this God and that he's all good, even though there are things I don't understand about it and things that to me would seem atrocious, but let me just pretend it's good. I think that's irresponsible and lazy.
Well, not really, because if you look at it, it's like my child. He's trying to question everything, but at the end of the day, he really doesn't have to understand everything, but to obey. He has to trust me, that I'm doing everything for good. Okay, but at the end of the
What
day,
if your no? What if your parent is a maniac and is a terrible parent? Should kids obey their maniac parents who are assaulters?
no, totally not.
Okay, great. So just because you have a parent or a parental figure does not mean that the child must obey that person. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and my reason to always or my way of always seeking the best parental figure is always looking at God.
The
Because
one who commands genocide and the one who commands us to murder and enslave people. That's your moral authority? A master
pretty much,
genocidal maniac? Who flooded the
as
world
crazy
with
as
water to kill innocent babies? That what some lady ate an apple from a tree and now he's going to give people skin cancer? That's atrocious. That's a maniac. That's not a god. That's a maniac.
I understand what you're saying. And as bad as it looks, like I said, a lot of times I want to question God, but I'm just nobody to question him. What
Okay.
I've
Well, I'm
seen.
sorry, sir. You are not bad for questioning things. Look, if there's a God who cares about his children, why would he punish them for questioning? Like, come on, think about this, guys. Like, if there's a loving being who cares about his kids deeply and wants the best for them, why would he punish us for simply questioning his actions? I don't understand. What's so wrong about questioning things? I think this leads you to a terrible place when you don't question things, when you're not skeptical, you just blindly believe, and that's why I'm here. Please keep tapping, guys. Also, I have a YouTube channel where I have all my debates there. They're recorded, and I have lots of science videos too.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Great. What do you got?
So, have you ever heard of the SCP Foundation?
No.
So, there's an SCP called SCP-343. He's classified as God, and they have him locked up on Site 17.
Oh, what do you have?
Weren't you the guy who eats dogs? That's all I wanted to know.
That was satire to demonstrate the point that animals, that there's hypocrisy going on the non-vegan side. They
Okay.
pick and choose who they want to abuse. I think that's wrong.
Okay, that made me feel better. I was really
Well, you say you feel better, but you're the one causing harm. You know,
Hello.
hypocrisy remains. Hey, what do you got?
I was just wondering if you've beat off your demons today.
Yeah, I did. They're all gone. I'm a new man. Hey, what do you have for us today? Hi, how are you?
Doing good, and you?
Great. What do you have for us today?
Well, are you big into science? Like
I love
the
science.
creation of the world? Have you ever seen life come from non-life? Like anywhere throughout evolution, anywhere throughout the world, have you ever seen life come from non-life?
Yeah, every day. Our bodies are tools that bring non-living entities into and turn them into living things. It's a biological process. Life is a process. And you're looking for a one molecule that is living. There is no such one object that's alive. Life is a process that happens to non-living things. And we have an entire field of science dedicated to understanding how life came from non-life. It's called Abiogenesis, and there's several hypotheses. And scientists think that life comes from amino acids, the building blocks of life, amino acids and proteins and lipids, and they form cells. And these cells can duplicate, replicate, because of some certain chemical processes, and that's what life is.
Well, I mean, can life just spawn out of nothing? Like, can something just spawn from nothing?
That's if anything, that's what you believe, right? You believe in 6 days we just spawned into existence, but evolution and abiogenesis describe the process that we got here. It is billions of years old.
I believe evolution is true and evolution is right, but something had to happen to cause that evolution. We can sit there and, keep explaining things of what happened, but it would all lead into what caused that and what caused that. It's more plausible for me to believe that there was a creator, because if you look into the cosmos, the construction of the cosmos is perfect. If it was created any differently, life would not exist.
So what? So why does life matter? Why does life matter to you? Because you want it to matter?
No, because I see a purpose. I'm here for a reason.
Yeah,
I mean,
look, you're saying the universe is perfect, and you're saying why, and I'm asking you, why is it perfect? And you're saying, oh, we are alive. Well, okay, but what if there's another universe that was different but didn't have life? How would you call this universe perfect and that one not imperfect? What's the difference? How do you compare and contrast universes to determine that ours is perfect?
well, I mean, if you look at the scientific standpoint of it, I mean, let's just say, even if the world was a couple of feet closer to the sun, we would all burn up and die if it was a couple of feet.
No, that's not what science says at all. The Earth varies in its orbit by millions of miles per year. It's not a few inches or a few feet. It's literally millions of miles. And by the way, you're doing the same fallacy again. You're presupposing that Earth is special in this, when there are more planets than stars in the world. There's so many possible planets that it could have more life than ours. There could be planets out there that are more beneficial for life than ours. What makes you say that Earth is special? What makes you think that our universe is special? Yeah, if it was off a bit, yeah, we wouldn't be here, but there'd be another existence here, right? So I'm asking you, how do you know that we are perfect when we only live in one universe? You don't have another to compare to.
Well, I would say this universe is, in essence, perfect. Like, if you look at the creation of the cosmos, there's no way it didn't come from a creator. Like, how did all of this just happen?
Okay. You're saying this universe is perfect. You're so keen on this. Okay. Well, what's an imperfect universe look like?
An imperfect universe?
Yeah.
An imperfect universe would consist of no life. Life is perfect. I mean, it took so much for us just to be here. And I'll backtrack you to
so do you understand? Okay, so on the Earth, which is the only place we know of that has life, okay, life is a fraction of what's out there in the universe. But let's look at Earth. Even on the Earth, which is supposedly the best conditions for life that we know of, people die every day. They starve to death. People choke on their food. People die of disease. The volcanoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, flooding kill people all the time. It's hard to survive on the Earth. It's not easy, okay? We have to eat every day and just to survive. And if you don't eat or drink water for a couple of days, you can die. We are barely hanging on by a thread. Survival is a rarity on the Earth. Extinction is the norm. We look at the fossil record and we see tons of fossils of our extinct cousins who are no longer here and never coming back. That is evidence to me that the Earth is where you go to die, not where you go to live. It's where you go to die. We are on a death sentence. We're sentenced to death. Every living being is sentenced to death. And most of that life that we live is very, very hard to live. It's it's a lot of struggle, a lot of suffering, a lot of bad things. How can you say that we're perfect?
I'm not saying the Earth in a whole is perfect. I'm saying the cosmos, there's no way it didn't come from a creator.
Why? What's a universe that has a creator look like versus one when there is no creator? What's the difference between the two universes?
You're asking implausible questions because I only know a universe with a creator. You can't.
Bingo. That's the point. That's the entire point of my argument. We only have one universe to compare. We don't have any other universes, just ours.
What's to say
One
that?
out of one. That's the entire point. You can't say that we are perfect because perfection's a relative term, right? When you say something's perfect, you're saying that from compared to this is less flawed. This is better. Well, all we have is this. We there's nothing else to compare. So you can't assess its perfection because all we have is this.
Okay, then what's for you to say there's not another universe where God is 100% proven? You can't.
Show
You
it to
can't.
me. You show me the evidence. I'd love to see the evidence.
I mean, you can't say there's another universe that God isn't 100% proven. We only know
I
our
never
universe.
said I could. What I'm saying is I don't see evidence of a God. To me, God seems to be imaginary.
Elaborate. How is God imaginary in your terms?
There is no evidence of it. There's logical inconsistencies. There's no reason for God to exist.
All right, then how did you come into play? Like, how did this whole world in a whole come into play? There's no way it came from a Big Bang. And if you say it came from the Big Bang did happen. What created that Big Bang? You can answer that, and what created that? It's just
Yes, these are great questions. What caused a Big Bang? What's a Big Bang? Well, first of all, do you know what the Big Bang is?
it was a dense object hit another object and created life from those objects.
No, that's not the Big Bang at all. The Big Bang happened where you're standing. The Big Bang is not an explosion. It is not some kind of mass object that's collided with each other. No, the Big Bang is a stretching of space and time. The fabric of our universe is stretching, and like a rubber band, it's stretching apart. And the Big Bang happened everywhere in the universe. The entire universe is stretching apart. And we can see this by looking up at telescopes and seeing the redshifting of galaxies. We can see light stretching with the universe. We can see cosmic microwave background radiation. This is afterglow from the universe, from the early universe. We see it in space with telescopes. The evidence of the Big Bang is overwhelming. Now, if you're asking how did we come into the picture, well, that's another about 10 billion years after the Big Bang. There was a cosmic evolution that preceded our existence, right? We have star formation. Stars exploded. They collapsed eventually into planetary disks, which then yielded planets orbiting around them. These planets then were bombarded with all kinds of materials like water and amino acids and the building blocks of life, which those building blocks then over time in the oceans interacted in ways that would yield living beings, living protocells. And these cells duplicated, and then from that point, there is this never-ending thread of processes, evolutionary processes, survival of the fittest, which then yielded the complexity of human beings we know today. That's the story in the nutshell. And it's a very complex story, but nonetheless, it is one which there is no need for a God.
But still,
Pure physics, pure mathematics and physics describes our existence. And that's amazing. That's amazing.
but still, you can sit here and explain everything until for eons and eons. But you'll always go back to what created this, and you'll keep questioning what created what had happened.
Okay, and who created God?
Who created God? God is infinite, has no beginning or no end.
Okay, great. Then we can say the same about the universe. Why not cut God out and just say the universe is infinite?
It has been proven that there was a start of the universe and there was going to be an end of the universe.
Well, no, not necessarily. The Big Bang is not necessarily the start. It's the start of what we know as the universe, but it's not the start of everything. We don't know the full universe, right? So we can't just say it's the start or there was a start to everything. That's something we don't know yet. But even if there was a start, why must it be a God?
Why must it not be a God? What's there to question it isn't?
I never said it must not be God. You're saying it must be God. I'm saying why?
Because none of this happened coincidentally. I mean, it was...
Why not? Why not? Why can't we be products of chance?
Products of chance, because the chance would be slim to none.
But
For
there's
us,
still a chance. But there's still a chance.
yeah, but as I said, it's more plausible for the chance of something creating the world than it is to believe that there's not.
That's from your limited scope of perception. What if there's a multiverse where there are an infinite number of Big Bangs and infinite numbers of cosmic evolutions, infinite numbers of different types of life? Well, then the probability is irrelevant. Now, every possibility will end up happening. They're inevitable because the universe is infinite. And in that case, it doesn't matter the chance. The chance of us being here is 100%. Or maybe this is the only universe, and perhaps the chances again are 100%, 1 out of 1. So why do the chances matter? And by the way, what's the chance of God existing? How do you determine that chance?
I've determined it through personal experience and also what I see. As I said, I've never, until you brought it up, never seen life come from non-life. I've always seen the creating come from a creator. And
Okay. Do you think that there is a creator for clouds? Is there somebody in the clouds making the rainfall?
not at all. There's scientific explanation behind the clouds. But
And
there's
I agree. So then we have scientific explanations that don't need God, such as rain or volcanoes or tsunamis, earthquakes. They don't need a God. There's no tsunami man in the waters pushing the water to the shore. No, all these are explained through physics, just like life and everything else in the universe. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to say that there's another perspective that you're discounting out of your ignorance.
I'm not discounting there's another perspective. I see there are multiple explanations for multiple different things, but in my mind and in what I've seen, it is more plausible for there to be a creator. I think nothing happens by coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason.
Then why did God happen?
Why did God happen? To create us, to create the world.
No, why did God exist? What's the reason for his existence?
That's a question way beyond my comprehension and way beyond any comprehension.
Okay, great. So then why do you have to add God? And why can't you say, well, the reason for the universe is beyond our comprehension. It doesn't need to be God, though. Why do you have to always add God?
What I've seen in life, it's a lot more plausible for it.
You keep saying this. You keep saying it's more plausible, but you have yet to show it's more plausible.
I said this before. I mean, if you keep backtracking yourself on all of your scientific explanation and all, I mean, you said we're made through mathematics. What presented the first person with mathematics? I mean, was it just a thought that randomly concurred? Was it work? It's crazy to think that it just happened from pure chance, pure coincidence.
Yet, are you Christian?
I don't follow religion. I follow God. Religion is a very biased standpoint.
Okay. Do you believe in Jesus?
Yes.
That's religion. Okay. So you're not willing to think that there is a cosmic evolution of natural processes, but you're willing to think that there is a Jesus man who was a God that came back down to earth and by chance happened to resurrect for 3 days and act like he saved the world and went back to heaven and became the king of the world again. For what? What are the chances of that happening? What are the chances of resurrecting from the dead? What are the chances of walking on water? What are the chances of turning your body into bread? What are those chances? What are the chances of God existing? You have yet to demonstrate that the chance of God is more likely than the chance of naturalism. You have yet to show that. You're just assuming it.
I'm just I'm just saying it from my own thoughts and my own research. I mean, you can watch the videos of where they went to the tomb that Jesus was presented, and there was living blood dated back thousands of years, still living, still compatible.
Oh, really? You have the blood today? They have it?
Look, there's a multitude of videos.
Where's the research there? Where's the research?
It was a couple of not archaeologists. It was a couple of, I can't remember. It was a think 3 or 4 people who went into the tomb of where Jesus was placed, and there was living, moving blood.
Okay, so where's the paper? Where's the scientific paper that demonstrates that this blood's still alive?
Look it up. Look it up.
I did. It's not there. I did. It's not there. There is no such paper. It doesn't fucking exist. You have seen a YouTube video or a TikTok video of some whack job. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not trying to be rude here, but you have to do a lot more research. There is no blood of Jesus. There's no feces of Jesus. There's no semen for Jesus. We don't have any of that. Even if you did, it would not demonstrate he's a god. So having an empty tomb or an empty place, it doesn't mean that somebody rose from the dead because it's empty, right? Do I look at an empty fruit bowl in my kitchen and go, there's no fruit in the fruit bowl, they must have resurrected? No, they didn't float away, right? We don't know what happened to the body. It could have been tossed off a cliff. It could have been destroyed. It could have been burned. It could have been, who knows? Those are all way more plausible than somebody floating up to heaven like a bird, like an angel. So I would do more research before you come up to these lives. But thank you for being here.
No problem.
I'll be reading all of those. Still to come, the Nifa remix of Armin van Buren, but also the...
Hey, I be mad too. Got me like you, boy. Skeleton emoji looking at that boy. Baked bean head that boy.
Very intellectual argument.
Hi.
Probably Christian love. Hey, what do you got?
How are you?
Great. What do you have for us today?
So I would like to know what you mean by God is imaginary. Like, for example, when you're saying God is imaginary, do you take in consideration that everyone around you is also imaginary?
No, there's evidence for people, right? We have your
How?
body, we have your voice, we have things, we have your birth certificate. There's no evidence of a God.
Okay, but like all those things that you named comes from senses, and all those senses have wronged you before. So what tells you that it is 100% true?
The falsification of the senses. We can falsify, we can verify these things to be true by looking at the data.
Yeah, but there's, like I said, your senses can wrong you. So even if you verify, data can be wrong.
Okay, I agree, my senses are wrong. That's why we have science. It's a method that is falsifiable, right? If my sense is wrong, we can correct that.
Okay.
We can peer review. We can look at other data. We can corroborate with different sources. That's how science works. We never just go, oh, I trust my sense today, therefore God. That's what you do.
Actually, it's funny because you're using science to debunk God, but the whole point of God is that he goes beyond science. So if you don't have any better argument than science, then
How
bring it up.
convenient to define your God as something beyond the observable, beyond the measurable.
But the thing is, it is observed and it's written down in a book.
Okay, what book is that?
It's called the Bible.
Okay, so where in the Bible does it demonstrate that God is real?
By the fact that people have their testimonies about God and that God speaks to them and there's prophecies.
But that's coming from their senses.
Yeah, right. But we just established that you trust senses. This is why I asked you that.
No,
Got
I
you
just explained
Got
to
you there.
you.
Got you there.
Nice try, man, but you didn't. I just explained to you, which you missed, that we don't just trust our senses. We verify. We test. We falsify our senses.
Your verification is based on science. Mine is based on testimonies and the books that we have.
Okay,
What is
so
the
how
difference?
did you? Okay, great. So how did you verify the story to be correct?
Exactly. That is exactly what I was gonna talk to you about. Have you actually read the church fathers and the Bible in depth with commentaries?
Yes. And how
Okay,
did you
name me
verify?
5 early church fathers.
Ma'am,
Name me 5 early church fathers right now.
how did you verify that these people saw Jesus rise from the dead and all these things you're claiming?
Can you please name me 5 early church
I don't have
fathers?
to name you fathers.
Why not? You said
Because
that you
it's
studied it
irrelevant.
because you
It's
asked
irrelevant to the
me
evidence.
how. Right. So the thing is, how do we know that science is true? Because we study it and we look at it. You don't just trust anything that
That's
they
not
say.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
Again, you're
Well, let me
not understanding what I'm
finish.
saying.
So
Ma'am,
you wanna...
hold on, relax.
Okay.
So how we know scientific claims are true is, but not just by studying it, but by experimenting and falsifying and verifying and changing variables, right? That's how science is done. There's many methods. What you're doing is you're looking at a Bible and you're going, oh, look, these people, appealing to authority, these people said that this is correct. That's not a good method. Because how
Okay.
did you verify that those church fathers got these things correct too?
Okay, so it's funny because you said there's two things. So not only do we study the science, know it's true, but you also experiment it. Well, I can tell you that I studied the Bible with the fathers, and also there's hundreds, if millions of people who experimented God, who experimented the miracles, who experimented. I'm not saying this is truth. I'm not saying it's like objective truth,
Okay,
because
then
miracles don't
how did you
prove.
experiment with for God?
Okay, well, exactly. So, for example, the people who experienced what they were living with Jesus and wrote it down in a book, and it's funny because all these people were different people. It's not just one person making up shit. It's
Ma'am,
many people
ma'am,
all saying the same
please,
thing about the same
please,
person.
just show us the experiment that demonstrates God.
I just did the Bible, and you didn't study it. So why are you up there trying to like
And
refute it?
how did you verify the Bible is true?
By historians literally agree that the Bible is like, it's not like lost in translation or anything, if that's your argument.
Ma'am, how did you verify the Bible to be true? Specifically the supernatural claims.
I verify the Bible to be true because it is written testimonies from people, and when you go back to historians, they tell you that it is true.
Okay. How did you
You have
verify those
ceased from.
testimonies to be true?
Okay, well, the same way that we can verify that what we have from Aristotle or anyone else from the back in the centuries is true.
No,
There is historical ways. You're not going to try to get me to tell you
Man,
every
let
single
me
way. I'm
ask
not a
let me ask
historian.
again. Let me ask this again because you didn't understand.
I'm not a historian. I'm not
talking
here to
s-
tell you how we verify everything is true.
I'm
If you want to talk to a
talking,
historian, you can do
ma'am,
that.
I'm talking specifically about the supernatural claims, right? How do you? I understand that. I grant you that Jesus existed. I'll grant you that. But I'm asking you, how do you know that this guy resurrected, right? How did you verify the resurrection?
With the testimony of different people who wrote it down.
Which people?
And also, it's funny because you denied the other guy earlier that the Shroud of Turin, that is an actual real thing, and it's actually documented in by scientists. Just saying. So please get
And
educated
it's
before you
been
speak.
shown to be dated to the 13th century, which is not relevant to Jesus
Oh,
anyway.
you read the Shroud of Turin? You were just literally talking about how it doesn't exist. The
I
Shroud
never
of
said
Turin
it doesn't.
is
I never
by
said it doesn't
scientists.
exist, ma'am. I never said it didn't exist. What I'm saying is that it's just a cloth that was dated to the 13th century, way after Jesus existed. So it has no relevance to Jesus. I'm asking you about the supernatural claims of the resurrection. How did you verify that? And if you're going to say the church fathers, how do they know that they're correct?
Yeah, but that is the thing. So what is your criteria to prove something is true?
Falsifiable evidence.
Like what?
Depends on the claim.
Exactly. My evidence is the people who saw it happen and wrote it down. Your evidence for science is people who studied it
Okay.
and wrote it down. What is the difference?
No, that's not science. That's what
It
you're
doesn't
doing.
need to be science. I'm showing you actual
Look, you're not understanding. Science isn't just, oh, I saw something, let's write it down. That's not science. Science is a rigorous method of experimentation over many, many methods, many different tests. What you're doing is you're looking at an ancient book of fairy tales, which, by the way, is full of fallacies.
fallacy.
And
You just committed a fallacy right now as we're talking.
which one?
A book of fairy tales? That is a loaded question.
No, that was a statement. It is a book
It's
of
a
fairy
loaded.
tales.
You know what you're doing.
Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark. You think those actually happened?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Again, that is a fallacy of
So Noah's Ark is not true. There's no evidence in Noah's Ark. But again, let's get back on track here, right? How do you know Jesus resurrected? And all you're saying is the Bible, bro. That's all you're saying, right? How did you verify the resurrection?
Okay. Well, then, if I tell you, so I was with my friend and I went to the store. My friend wrote to her other friend that I went to the store. How do we verify that I went to the store? We asked the person who was there and wrote it down.
Man, we're not talking about going to the store. We're talking about a resurrection. Right?
And that is, I'm telling you, the testimony is. I don't know why you're rejecting that testimony is an evidence.
Testimony is not good evidence at all because people can lie, they can fib, they can say
Exactly.
things that
I
are
agree
not
with
true.
you.
So
I agree
you
with
can't
you.
rely on testimonies.
I agree with you absolutely. That is why I would believe that this would be a good argument against Islam, because Islam has only one creator, which is Muhammad. In Christianity, not only one person would have lied, many different people that are all around the world would have lied. How odd is that?
Just like
If
they
they're
do all
lying
the
about the same
time.
person, but they're
Man,
not,
people
like, for
lie all
example,
the
Saint
time.
Paul.
Man, people lie all the time. But more importantly, people can be mistaken about things they believe, right? People could have had hallucinations or dreams and pretend as if they were real and then
Right,
write them down in the story.
but
So maybe your
would these people?
hold on. Maybe those eyewitnesses are actually not good data because the claims that are being made by those testimonies are not falsifiable. They were mistaken. They were hallucinations. There's other reasoning which enables us to dismiss those testimonies. That's the problem that you cannot solve because you rely on a book that's 2,000 years old.
Okay, but then you're telling me that Saint John, Paul, by the way, Paul did not meet John ever. James, Matthew, Luke, Mark, all these people have had the same exact dream, and they have elicited the same exact
No,
things,
the
and they have
Gospels.
died. They died. They were beheaded. They were all beheaded. Their fingers were getting cut. They were burnt
No. That's
for
not
a
true at
lie,
all. That's not true
for
at all.
hallucination,
No, they didn't lie. People
for
died all the
hallucination.
time. Man, hold on. People were executed all the time for their beliefs. It wasn't something that demonstrates God exists. But more importantly, the gospel writers were anonymous. We don't know who they actually were.
That
They
is
weren't real people. In fact, we know that the gospels are not only contradictory, but they were written decades after Jesus existed. They're
that
not
is a claim.
contemporary sources.
That is a claim for one, because I have personal notes that can prove that John was written by John and Paul was written by Paul. Well,
Oh,
the
really?
Paul
Okay,
written by
great.
Paul. Yeah.
Demonstrate that John is a real person that actually wrote the gospel.
If you're interested into textual criticism, that is not the conversation right now, but I could definitely send that to you if you're interested later after the live. But my conversation with you right now is you made the claim that these people, okay, they were hallucinating, not maybe lying, but hallucinating. Are you telling me that 10 people were hallucinating the same thing about the
No,
one
I never
person?
said that. I'm saying that people could have been mistaken.
How?
There could have been several different reasons as to why they made the claims they did. And now in your 2,000 years later, you come up to my live and say, look, they saw Jesus. But what if it was just a dream? What if it
So
was just a
you're telling me that
hallucination?
people who were not in the same place at the same time all had the same dream about the same person?
What if it all comes from
That
the
is more
same
credible.
source? What if all those stories come from the same source?
Yeah, but it doesn't. That's the thing. It
It
does not.
does, but it does.
What source?
The Bible, it's one source.
But these people have had these like claims before the Bible was compiled.
That's your claim. That's
It's
the
not my
Bible was
claim. It's
written
actual
after
history. It's facts.
the Gospels were written after Jesus died, decades after, right? You don't
Exactly.
have any contemporary sources. You
You're
have no
proving my point.
eyewitnesses at all.
You're proving my point. Because since the Bible was compiled years after Jesus died, these people, which are John, Mark, Luke, and Matthew, they all believed the same thing and made the same claims, okay? But they were not with
You don't
each
know
other.
who these people are. The Gospels are anonymous. They're not.
That
They
is
were
not. That is a
anonymously
claim.
written.
Prove they're anonymous. Prove it.
Bart Ehrman is a historian who agrees with this. He's an actual biblical scholar who studies
Prove
the
it.
Bible, and he agrees that the Gospel authors are anonymous. This is the
Okay.
consensus
Can you
amongst
please prove it to me?
historians.
Can you prove it to me since you have like the whole image on
What do
your
you mean
screen?
prove it? What do you mean prove it? I just gave you a source.
That is a fallacy of appeal to authority.
No, I did not appeal to authority. I said that there are historians, the consensus of historians is
That is
that
not
gospel
true.
writers are anonymous, and there's no evidence otherwise. Do you have any evidence that the gospel writers were real and they actually saw those things?
Yes.
What is it?
The evidence that these people wrote their books.
What is the evidence that these people wrote the stories and were eyewitnesses to the events of the resurrection?
The fact that we still have sea scrolls and stuff like that.
The Dead Sea Scrolls were parts of the Old Testament, not the New Testament.
I know. We have manuscripts.
That's not
We
relevant.
literally
It's not
have the
relevant.
first. We have like letters from John from this first century. And every single, and even the church fathers.
That's not a contemporary data
Even
source. Right?
even the church fathers who were in the year hundreds, 200s, and 300s, just by their commentaries, we can put back the Bible all together just by their commentaries.
So you're saying that the resurrection is true because there's a couple fat old guys who said it was?
Again, that's a fallacy. Are you gonna keep committing fallacies?
You're the one appealing to authority. You're saying church fathers. They're just people, right?
No,
How
I
do you know
didn't
that
apply
they?
to authority
How
to
do you
prove my
know that
point.
they actually demonstrated the resurrection?
I didn't apply to authority to prove my point. I applied to authority. I didn't
So
even
what
actually
is the
apply to
data?
authority.
So what is the data that demonstrates Jesus rose from the dead?
So you basically want, like, I don't understand what you're searching for here, because just because you're not accepting the evidence I'm giving you. So is there like actual fruitful conversation going on here?
You're giving me claims in a storybook. That's
It's not claims. Okay, prove its claims then. If that is your positive argument.
The burden of proof is on you to demonstrate that they're not just claims and that they actually
I
happen.
did. I told you it's testimonies. If you want to say no, it's not testimonies, then you have to prove it's not.
How many people saw Jesus rise from the dead?
The apostles, like Mark, Luke, John, and
So what? 10 people, give or take.
There is more than just the when he resurrected and when people saw it. There's also the events that happened after that, and while it happened. Like
how many people saw Jesus rise from the dead, like a zombie?
Like a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just gonna keep being fallacious. Like, do I need to like just quit this live because you're just being
coming back from the dead? That's what zombie. That's the definition of a zombie. Coming back from the dead.
Okay, that is again a fallacy. So just because something is similar to something else, that doesn't mean it's the same
How
thing.
many people saw this zombie?
How many people saw Jesus? You mean?
Yeah, same thing.
I told you the apostles did, but
Okay,
just because.
So 12. So 12 people.
Sure, you can say that.
Okay. Well, 5,000 people saw Bigfoot. Does that mean Bigfoot's real?
That is not the same thing. Is there prophecies?
They're testimonies. They're testimonies.
It's not just about testimonies. I'm telling you, the Bible has like over 60,000 references in the whole book from years and years back.
It's the same book. It's the same source.
If you told me that Bigfoot or whatever you want to make fun of, okay, if you tell me that this person or this thing have had prophecies about it, okay, and have had people see and write down testimonies about it.
You have no prophecies, but more importantly, you have a book that says a claim, and all of your claims coming from the same book. Imagine if I gave you a Spider-Man comic book and said, look, there's all these points in the story that point to Spider-Man existing. It's the same book.
Is the Torah the same book as the New Testament?
Adaptation.
Is the Torah the same book as the New Testament?
They're part of the same story. They're part of the same book.
That is what is so beautiful about Christianity, right? Because it is many books in one book.
Yeah, one book.
Exactly. That is credible for us.
And the Old Testament is contradictory to the New Testament. There's lots of fallacies between the two stories. But more importantly,
which are? What are the fallacies?
Like in Genesis, there's multiple stories of Genesis that contradict each other.
I don't think you understand the point of Genesis, because look, if you want to talk about the Bible,
it doesn't matter. Look, it doesn't matter. If you want to talk about
the Bible, we can do that. But if you want to talk about the Bible, you need to have studied the Bible.
No, look, you're going on a tangent, right? I'm asking you for how you know that this guy resurrected, and all you're giving me is, oh look, these 10 people said that he did. To me, how would anybody reasonable take that as evidence?
Oh, okay. Well, I would think you would be unreasonable not to take it. Let me explain why. So let's say that I'm at a party, right? And there's 10 people there, and I go somewhere, okay? And then these 10 people say, Kay went to this place. For you to say that all 10 people are lying is much more stupid than for me to say that you have no proof that she actually went there.
The difference is the claims you're making, ma'am. You're making a much different claim than somebody going to a party.
Oh, so
you're talking about. Hold on. You're talking about a person who rose from the dead. That's a different claim than a party.
That is irrelevant, because you're just saying, because you're attacking the way the Bible got written.
Let me ask you this.
You're attacking the way the Bible got written. You're not attacking that Jesus was dead.
Let me ask you this. If I told you that 10 people saw this person, his name is Bob, resurrect, would you believe it?
If they wrote it down and there was prophecies about it and there was actually events going after it, then yeah, I would absolutely believe it.
Okay, great. So you're saying prophecies now. So what prophecies demonstrate he resurrected?
There is many prophecies in the Old Testament. Actually, this is again
Give
why you
one.
should study the
Give
Bible.
one. Give one prophecy.
Um, all over the New Testament. I mean, I have the verses, just not like in front of me, but I can definitely show them to you like in a few minutes if you need it. You
Are
need
you going
it?
to talk about the one where Jesus, you think Jesus was being talked about in Isaiah? Because that's not
I
Jesus.
think. I think.
Yeah, that's where all Christians resort to.
Well, that
There
is
is
not about
there
that
is
is not
not
about the
one
resurrection.
mention of
For
Jesus
one.
in the Old Testament. There's not one single mention of Jesus in the Old Testament. Not a single one. There are no prophecies, and for the prophecies that it predicts, a lot of them are wrong, like the fall of
Okay.
Rome. It's never
What about
happened.
Psalms 22? Do you know Psalms 22?
What?
Do you know Psalms 22?
No. Go ahead.
Do you want to open it on your screen and read it?
Read it to us.
Okay, perfect. I'm just gonna find it in my book. Can I open the camera on here or no?
Sure.
Okay. I'm looking forward to your code, by the way. I'm just saying. Okay, how do I open the camera on here?
Click the camera button.
Okay. Do you see it or?
Ma'am, it should be on your. Just click your profile picture. You should see it.
Okay. Oh wait, sorry. Psalms 22. Okay. The suffering, praise, and posterity of the Messiah. Here, my God, why have you forsaken me? Do you know where that's from? Do you know? Since
Man,
you know the
can you
Bible
just
so
can you
much,
just
right?
read?
Since you know
Can
the
you just
Bible so
read?
much.
Man, can you
Since you
just
attack
read?
us so much, do you know?
Can you just read it?
My God, why have you forsaken me? Do you know where that is from? You don't. Okay,
The
right. Because you
Bible,
attack
the
us so much, but you
Gospels.
don't
It's
know the
from the
basics.
Gospels. It's
Okay.
from the Gospels.
What gospel?
Matthew.
What? No. But what about? You know what? What is it referring to?
You tell me, because
Oh,
it
you
seems to be
don't know.
referring
So you want
to
to attack Christianity, but you don't
anything.
know the basics. Okay, cool. This is when Jesus was on the cross. He said, my God, why have you
No,
forsaken me?"
how
On
do
the
you
cross.
know? In Psalms, we're talking about the Old Testament.
Exactly.
Where in
Isn't that so
Psalms
beautiful?
does it say Jesus?
Okay, right. So let's continue. My God, why have you forsaken me? Which is a prophecy Jesus answered in
Ma'am, can you be
when the
very clear here? I want an Old Testament verse where it talks about Jesus.
exactly. It's talking about Jesus here.
Where
So
does it say Jesus?
okay, why are you so far from helping me and from the word of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry in daytime, but you do not hear. And in the night season, I am silent, but you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel. Our father trusted in you. They trusted in you, and you delivered them. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed.
Okay, where's Jesus? Where's the Jesus part?
But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. All those who see me
Ma'am, where's
ridicule
the
me.
Jesus part?
They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, he trusted in the Lord, let him rescue him.
Ma'am, where's the Jesus part?
Does
Get to the
that remind
Jesus
you
part.
something? Does that
Where's the
remind you
Jesus
something?
part?
Do you think a prophecy is just about saying the name of someone? Are you that stupid?
Just get to that.
Are you
Ma'am,
that stupid?
ma'am, come on, don't
Can you please
insult
define
me.
prophecy to me? Can you
Don't
please define
insult me and
prophecy?
just get to the verse, ma'am.
Can you define what a prophecy is before we continue?
A prediction. Can you give us
Okay,
the
right.
verse
Does a
now?
prediction has to contain the name of someone?
Well, it should if you're going to make the claim that it does.
It doesn't though. It should not and it doesn't.
Then
Okay?
how
So
can you
please
possibly suggest? Okay,
stop bullshit.
then you concede that it does not talk about Jesus necessarily.
Oh, just because it's not saying Jesus does not mean it's not a prophecy
Well,
about
then
Jesus. Are you slow?
then you have made the claim that it's talking about Jesus.
It is talking about Jesus. It doesn't need to say Jesus for
How
it
do
to
you
be
know?
talking
How do you
about
know?
Jesus.
How do you know?
Exactly, that is what I'm showing you. Okay? All those who see me ridicule me. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, "He trusted in the Lord. Let him rescue him." Does that remind you something? Okay, let's continue.
Ma'am, get to the
Let-
Jesus part, please.
You just said that we don't need a full name. What are you talking about? It's talking about. I'm telling you, it's talking about Jesus.
How
I
do
didn't
you
say that
know?
it's named
How
the
do you
name
know
Jesus.
that it's talking about Jesus?
Exactly. This is why I'm telling you. This is what I'm showing. This
You
whole
just
psalm. Let's just skip it if you think it's boring. This whole psalm is about the crucifixion of Jesus. It literally says
how do you
they
know?
divided
How
my
do you know?
clothes. They
How do you know?
divided my clothes. Okay, and they gave
Man,
him
do
vinegar
you
to
think
drink.
Jesus was the only person ever to be crucified?
No, but they literally said they
Okay, then
divided.
this could apply to anybody.
It says they divided my clothes and gave him vinegar to drink.
That can apply to anybody.
And he said, my God, why have you forsaken me?"
That can
Does
apply to
everyone say,
anybody. That can
my
apply
God, why
to
have you forsaken me?"
anybody.
Then
That can
divided their
apply
clothes
to
and then
anybody.
they drink vinegar?
This can apply to anybody.
No, it cannot.
Okay,
Okay,
why?
then prove it. If
Why
it's your
not?
claim, prove it. Prove someone who has done the exact same thing in history.
Anybody can drink
Prove
vinegar.
it. No. This is
Anybody
appeal
can
to
drink
God.
vinegar.
Don't
Anybody can
fallacy.
drink vinegar, ma'am.
Don't do a fallacy.
I know you're scared, but
Prove
just
it.
relax and
Prove
listen.
it.
This verse does not mention Jesus in any way, number one. Number two, it applies to any person who is crucified.
Prove it.
Anybody can drink vinegar and go through that process and have
Okay,
the
that is a fallacy. That
Anybody
is an
can be.
appeal to look. Prove it. Can you prove that to me? Can you
All right,
prove it?
have a good day. Have a good day. I'm sorry, but I admire her courage, admire her conviction, but it's just not going to convince someone like me who seems
Hello?
to be no context of Jesus in the Old Testament. Hey, what do you got?
I was just wondering, like, how do you, like, think that, like, we got here?
Okay, how old are you?
18.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, like, how you think, like, we got
Well,
here.
well, how we got here in terms of the Earth? Well, that's a long
Who
story of
created
cosmic
us, like,
evolution and planetary formation. If we're talking about life itself, well, that comes from the Earth, from chemicals in the Earth, and from a
how did
process
the
called
chemicals get
evolution
there?
we arose.
How did the chemicals get there in process?
They didn't get there. There's no Uber that's dropping these chemicals off, right? There's no dump truck. It's perhaps the case that they were always there in some way, and over time they change and they evolve, just like everything else. So there doesn't need to be a God, though.
Yeah, but how did, like, the universe get here? Like, how did, like, Earth get here? How it was so precise and everything? Like, how did everything get
we can
created?
ask this. We can ask this question about God. How did God get here?
He
Right.
didn't get here. He's eternal.
Okay,
There
great.
isn't
So
an
why can't we
origin.
say? So then why can't we say the universe is eternal?
Because scientists have proved it.
Oh, really?
The
Which
Big Bang.
science
How do you
demonstrates the
explain
universe?
the Big Bang though? Like, there's
The
been
Big
a beginning for the universe, being the Big Bang.
Yeah, the Big Bang's not the beginning necessarily of the entire universe. The Big Bang is the expansion of our local space-time that we inhabit. It's not the
Exactly.
beginning of
So
everything.
for the Big Bang to happen, there was molecules and everything. So how do you think that, like, worked? Like, someone had to put the molecules there. Like, the molecules didn't just snap,
No.
boom,
So
there.
what do you think the Big Bang is?
The beginning of the universe.
No.
How
What do
everything
you
got here.
think the process was of the Big Bang?
I'm not a scientist. I'm not exactly sure, but in my science classes, it was just a bang, and then everything was here.
Yeah, that's not the Big Bang. When we say the Big Bang, we're not talking about an explosion, right? We're not talking about an explosion. We're talking about the stretching of space-time, and that's already still happening. You are part of the Big Bang. You are part of this expansion.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with molecules at all. The energy of the universe was perhaps always there. It's always conserved. This is a law of physics, right? Matter is always conserved. There is no creation of matter. You can't create matter by definition, by physics. So the point is, it is likely the case that, to me, the universe was always there in some way and has since evolved into our current model and current configuration. No God required.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from, and you make a good point, but I like don't want to. I'm just like trying to like tell you my perspective. I just don't like get
Right.
how we came
Good.
here and like how like
Yes,
like
you're
we have
asking
a
fantastic
brain
questions. You're
and we
asking
like
great questions.
have like just like how we work, like how like everything works, like how our bodies are composed and
Yeah.
everything. It's just like to me like I just recently got baptized and I like believe in God and stuff just because like that's what
Okay.
I believe in.
Great. Good job, sir. Please listen now. Congratulations. I'm happy that you're asking these questions. That's fantastic. We all ask them. Okay. Especially me. I love asking these big questions. And there are answers, and we have enough answers about the world to recognize that God isn't required, actually. In fact, there's a very amazing explanation as to why we are here this way. And it has to do with evolution and physics and chemistry and biology and all these interconnected fields of science, all of which are amazing explanations. The point is, none need God. God is never needed. And I would suggest you learn more about science and learn more about the world around you, and you'll be better able to answer these questions. But thank you for being here, and I appreciate your courage. All right, let's bring the next guest up here. Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Great, how are you?
Good. I was looking for a friendly little debate here, that's all.
Great. What do you got?
So, and I think where he was trying to put it was, scientists have this theory with the Big Bang happening with the density, something being very small, the density being so dense, and then causing this outward explosion. Again, just a theory because no one was there to record this actual event. So with me, I do believe in God. I will start with that. When I look at the universe from this point of view and my studies, everything's too aligned. Everything's too perfect. The way our world is designed, the axis that it sits on, from our seasons to the plants to the vegetation, the definition of so chaos, it's like throwing a fucking glass cup to a wall and then art coming out of that. Nothing. Think about the Big Bang. The Big Bang starts, it blows up, and all of a sudden you're looking at a well-formed universe. Planets.
Okay, let me interject here. So the Big Bang is not an explosion. The Big Bang is an expansion of space-time. It's not an explosion. There's no acceleration of forces happening. It's just a space-time stretching. But more importantly here, the configuration of the universe in which we exist in today is part of a cosmic process that took billions of years to happen.
Okay.
The universe in whole is becoming more disorderly, more chaotic. But there are pockets of order that we can exist in due to gravity, due to angular momentum, all these different physical forces, which can yield order in an ocean of chaos around it. Okay. So we can kind of be these orderly entities feeding off of this order, feeding off of this disorder in the universe exterior to it. That's the kind of situation we're in right now, where we are living beings becoming more orderly in exchange for even more disorder to the exterior. And that's why chaos can actually yield order in some degree, some pockets of it. And we exist in that pocket. But when you say, another thing here is when you say the universe is perfect, that is a hefty claim. You're saying that you've examined all the universes and you have assumed that this universe is the best or the most perfect one. And how did you determine that? How did you assess that this universe is perfect when we haven't described or haven't seen another universe to compare it to? So how did you make that assessment of us being perfect? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, when I look at the world and I look at what man can do and what we can create, this isn't out of order. This isn't chaos. Look at the perfection and the design of our world. This doesn't happen from chaos. This isn't out of order. This isn't chaos. Look at the perfection and the design.
Okay, can you hear me?
Look at the perfection and I'm having trouble hearing. Fuck.
Okay, come back up later. This is a very common argument. People say, look at the design. But look at what you're doing when you're asking that question. You're presupposing there is design. You're presupposing that there's somebody making us. Why? Why must there be somebody making us? Is it because you don't understand how we could have developed naturally? Is that the problem? Because if so, we have naturalistic explanations for that. What makes you think that this universe is perfect? We only have one universe. How can you possibly say that this is perfect? I agree that it's amazing. The universe is incredible. But how can you say it's perfect? What does that even mean? What's an imperfect universe look like? How do you compare and contrast those two? See? You're not answering these harder questions. You're just saying it's perfect, God. Well, that's an appealing thing to say, but what does that even mean? Hey, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Great.
Right. The question is, so is God a demandery? So is that your fact? Is that your fact? I'm just asking you now. I'm recalling the question back to you.
Yeah, I would say that it's likely the
what
case.
you know for sure? Is that what you know for sure? Have you got proof of that?
I would say that it's likely the case that God doesn't exist. And logically, yes, I think there are some versions of God that we can absolutely disprove, depending on the context.
So you can disprove it. Okay. So all right. Okay. I'll put it this way. So can you disprove evil then?
I don't know what that even means.
Right. You don't even know what that means. Okay. So all right. So where there's good, there's got to be bad. Yeah. Correct or no?
Why?
Why? So there can only just be bad then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, why does there have to be only good? And what do you mean by good?
No, I mean, I'm saying there's got to be both, my friend. You know, you can't have one without the other.
Why not?
Because you can't.
Okay, is God...
Because there's balance. There's got to be balance. Otherwise, it will just be off balance.
Hold on.
Okay, sir. I am holding on.
Are you Christian?
I'm holding on. Am I Christian? No, I'm a spiritual, my friend.
Okay.
I'm a human being.
So what exactly do you mean by good or bad? It's all to me subjective.
What do I mean by good? Well, what I mean by good is true, and then by bad would be a lie. I mean, you can't live in a world with just full of lies.
So
if you could just lie to me all the time, then I wouldn't really want to speak to you.
You're confusing me.
Nor does a world of being bad, my friend. So you can't have one without the other.
This person just yaps and yaps and yaps. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be rude here, but that was pretty embarrassing.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
All right. So, how can you not believe that there's a God, to be honest?
Okay. How old are you?
I am 19, sir.
Okay. I don't believe in God because it's ill-defined. What do you mean by God? There's 1,000 different gods. If you ask 1,000 different people, they'll give you different definitions.
The one in the Bible.
Okay, I don't see evidence for that one, and I see lots of fallacies with that particular God. The problem of evil, divine hiddenness, omni-paradoxes, free will, lack of free will.
Yeah, and he gives us free will because okay, this is how I look at it. God...
No, I don't want to hear your theodicy. I don't want to hear your story. I want evidence that God exists.
No, if you let me talk, you'll know that that's not where I was going. So, God is the energy of love. Like, that's what's part of him. Love. So, when you say you love your mother, would you say that's a soul connection, or do you think that's just like chemicals in your brain?
Chemicals in the brain.
But there's always a cause and effect of everything. So what makes the chemicals in your brain go off like that towards your mother?
The interactions I have, the memories I have, right? Those all stimulate my brain to produce dopamine and oxytocin.
Exactly. So like when you spend time with someone and you grow that chemical reaction because of that soul interaction. You're interacting with souls. It's a soul
No,
connection.
we can get rid of the soul and we can just say that there's just chemicals involved. You don't need a soul.
So you
Whatever
don't
that is.
believe that we have souls?
I don't
You
know
don't
what a
believe
soul
in
is.
energy? A soul is your energy.
What do you mean energy? Energy is not a substance. Energy is what objects do.
Energy can't be destroyed. It always just passes on. So you're saying energy doesn't exist? That makes no
The
sense.
energy in our bodies when you die goes back into the soil, the water, the air. It doesn't vanish.
Your
It
body
goes
does. Your
internal.
energy doesn't, but your body does. Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been to like an
Where's
open
the
casket
soul?
funeral?
Look, where's the soul, sir?
The soul is in you. It's in within. It's the soul that you can't see. You can't go open up someone during a surgery and see a soul. That's not how
How do
it
you know
works
the
because it's
soul is
energy.
there?
How do you know that energy is there? How can you
Yes,
feel
we can
energy?
measure it. We can measure energy. We can measure power. We can measure watts. We can
Exactly.
measure all these things. So how do you measure soul?
You just answered your own question. It's energy. Your soul is energy.
What kind of energy? Watts?
What do you mean, watts?
Look, our bodies work on voltage. Our bodies, your cells, exchange electricity with other cells, and that's what drives the energy that produces your life. If you're going to call that souls, well then okay, congratulations. All you've done is relabel electricity soul. Anybody can do that. Right? I'm asking for something novel, something that nobody's ever seen before that gets us to something supernatural. So that's to me what a soul is. So do you have evidence of a supernatural thing, or do you have evidence that electricity exists? Like we all.
I mean, honestly, if you just look around and you look around on the people that are higher in power, that there's definitely evil out there. There's definitely evil out there in the world, and that itself kind of
I
explains
just looked
how
around, sir. I
bad
don't
is
see
it.
any God yet.
Well, you can't see him until you're dead. So
Oh, that's convenient for you. I have to die for you to be correct. Okay.
but like, can you answer
So
the
how do you know
question?
today that God exists?
How I know today?
Yeah.
I mean, you just look around. You just look around you. There has to be an intelligent designer in order for all this to even happen. If the moon was
Okay.
smaller or the sun was a little bit further away, we would all freeze. If the sun was a little bit closer, we would all burn.
How much closer?
So
How much closer?
I don't, I'm sorry, I can't give up the numbers on the top of my head, but it's scientifically proven if the sun was a little closer, we would all burn. And if the sun was far
Okay,
away,
even
was
if
really
that was
far away, we would
true.
all freeze.
Look, even if that was true, so what? Why does the universe care about us measly humans? We're just life. You're
Why does
assuming.
God care about
Look.
you?
Hold on, sir. Hold on. Your entire argument presupposes that there's something special about being alive. That means
There
the
is.
universe must have been configured in such a way for us to be here. Well, I'm sorry, sir, but if the sun was closer, we'd be dead. Who cares? There'd be other things that existed. Why are you assuming that we are special in the universe, that we are some privileged beings that the universe was made for?
The fact that you're alive right now is a miracle. Like, if you want to get all scientific, in order
Okay,
for
so
our
you're
circumstances to
saying that
happen, the sun
you're
is
saying the
event.
fact that I'm alive. Hold on. So you're saying the fact that I'm alive is evidence of God?
Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
Are you saying the fact that I'm alive is evidence of God?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so if somebody dies, does that mean God doesn't exist?
No, because
Okay,
if you
great. So
look
then, no
back,
matter if somebody's dead or alive, it shouldn't give you credence towards a God.
the fact that you're alive in the first place, the fact that there's anything alive on this earth right now is evidence of an intelligent designer.
Why?
Because you're alive.
And
Because if you look at any
why
other
does life
planet,
mean God?
I'm gonna myself. If the sun was a little bit further away, and if the sun was a little bit closer to Earth, life wouldn't exist. If the
So
moon was
what?
a little
So
bit
what? So what?
smaller, the
So what?
oceans wouldn't be able to
So
function.
what? So what? Why does it matter if we don't exist?
What do you mean?
Why does it matter if we didn't exist? Why? Why does the universe care about us?
Because what you're saying, the universe is God.
Okay, so why does God care about us? What's the point? Why are we special?
You know, that's actually a good question. I don't know why. I'm
Okay,
not
great.
God.
So then you can't use this as an argument for God, right? Because there's no reason why we're special. You don't have a reason as to why we're special. We're just
But
another thing in the universe. There's no
if
reason
you
to think that we humans are somehow special and that we need to be designed for some reason. Maybe, and the thing that you're discounting here entirely is that perhaps we are just the results of chance, and that there is a cosmic background out there that's much larger than we can ever imagine, which sees us as nothing but another flea on a fruit. We're just relevant to the universe. I mean, 95% of it is dark energy and dark matter. The universe is almost all empty space. And to me,
how do you
saying that
know?
we are special in this grand scheme of things, to me, is a bit arrogant and a bit egotistical. And to me, motivated reasoning for God, it's not real objective reasoning.
Do you believe in evil and good? Why is
Of
there a
course,
concept
I
of
believe
good and
that evil
evil?
and good are things that are subjective to us. Yes,
And why is that?
because we have brains that can prefer certain things.
Where do morals come from?
The brain.
Well, if you go to nature, nature doesn't have any morals. Why do we?
Well, other animals do. Chimps, apes, bonobos, other animals like dogs. Other animals and mammals have limbic systems which allow them to understand their surroundings and amend their actions towards other animals. That's what we do, right? I look around my environment, I see there are consequences to my actions, and I change my actions to accommodate for other people. That's morality. I don't get
So,
morality from a book, that's for sure.
so if you think about it, what do you think what makes us humans so much better than every other animal in the world? We as humans have taken over the entire world. Why do you think that is?
Because we have evolved to be this way. That's it.
So
There's no special reason. We happen to be the ones that evolved this way. And there's thousands of other species that evolve differently and are individually unique in their own ways.
So you believe in evolution and not a creator?
Evolution's a fact.
Is that so?
We can see it in labs, in the fossil record, and in our DNA.
So how come, like, I know this might sound stupid, but like, then why do chimps still exist? Like, we came from chimps, right?
No, we do not come from chimps of today. We share common lineage with chimps about 6 million years ago, and this is evidenced by chromosome 2. The evolution's like a tree. It's constantly branching, and there's different branches of the tree that are growing forever, and we happen to be one branch of the tree. And chimps are another branch, bonobos another branch, and gorillas another branch. We're just one branch of the tree. So there's no reason for us to be special. We're just part of the evolutionary process.
Yeah, so other animals have evolved too. What makes us so special?
Nothing. We're not special. Specialty is something that's subjective.
We took over the world. We are
And
obviously special.
well, we're special to
have taken
ourselves.
other
I mean,
animals.
to a rock, we're not special. We're not special by any means, objectively speaking, right? We're just another ape that happen to be this way. We think ourselves are special because
Well,
we
why
are
are we this
ourselves.
way? Why are we this way?
Well, when you say why, that's a different question than how. Why is an unanswerable question, but the how
Exactly. You
is
said.
evolution. Evolution is the reason why we are this way.
So in the Bible, it says we are a spitting image of God. We are just a spitting image, like a. So we have intelligence, we have connections, we can feel love, we can feel all these other things that other animals can't. We can do these things that other animals can't. We can
Yes, they
create,
sure they
we
can.
can be
Animals
creative,
can feel. Are
we can
conscious. Animals
understand
can.
music, we
Sir,
can.
listen. Other animals are conscious. They can love. They can feel. They're living beings like we are, with thoughts of their own and dreams of their own. Okay? And I understand that humans are a bit different than the other animals. Of course, we have cars and TVs, but there's a reason why. It's not because that God chose us, we're the chosen ones, but it's because of evolutionary processes. We develop brains with prefrontal cortices and abilities to develop fire and things like that. And language evolved and made us human. There are a cascade of reasons as to why we are this way. But there's nothing objectively special about us. We're just another ape.
Why does love exist?
Okay. Look, I didn't come here to be Bill Nye, right? I came here to get an argument for God. And I understand you have all these questions. But if you're going to ask these questions honestly, and you honestly want the answers, go learn the answers. There's a lot of science based on these things. Love is a chemical process in the brain. It's an amazing thing. Love is a fantastic experience. And because it's purely described by physics and chemistry, it makes it all that more exciting that we are matter in motion, able to experience these amazing things temporarily. That's incredible that these molecules, when configured in such a way, can yield emotions and yield love and yield these things. But you're adding God, but you're adding God and thinking, oh, I did something. I added God. But why? Maybe we are amazing and special because we are natural and there is no God.
But you just said that we're not special. You just said that we're special.
Well, special is subjective. We are special to people that exist. We are. It's the eye of the beholder. There is no judge in the universe saying we are special. It doesn't exist to me, And when I look at the Bible, I see lots of atrocities. I see a God who's, in my view, evil. He dictates people enslaving each other. He tells us to commit genocide. That to me is not love. You want to say that God is love, but God is not love to me. God is evil to me. God is your version of God is twisted and distorted. So
who hurt you?
That question is asked.
That was
no, I understand. Look, I understand why you're asking. Look, I understand why you asked this question. I'm very content in my life. I'm very peaceful and happy. Happier than I've ever been. People, from your perspective, they ask this question because they can't fathom a universe where God doesn't exist. They see someone like me, and they think, wow, he's sad. He doesn't believe in our magical man. Well, in fact, it's the opposite. I'm actually more happy because I'm free to think. My mind is not muddied by all these religious theodicies that try to excuse their way out of criminal activities that your God does. My mind is more clear. I can think clearly. I can understand things. I can extract beauty from the universe without God. And to me, that's why I do this, because fundamentally speaking, you might think I'm a hurt person, but if people would just detach themselves from this belief in God, they would see a whole universe out there that's full of wonder and mystery and awe that makes me excited and happy to be alive.
Have you ever considered walking down the path?
I was a Christian for 20 years, and now I've left. I decided to think instead of pray. Hey, what do you got?
Okay. So I'm just going to be a guy falling up on the other guy because I'm actually on your side of the aisle. I just wanted to make a quick comment or two. As someone who was raised non-religiously, I was not raised to have a feeling.
Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't come here to get your life story, and I'm happy that you're here, but I want people who disagree. In fact, I might leave soon. So thank you for guys. Everybody, please follow me and subscribe to my YouTube. I have all my content. Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Great. So I want to talk about, I'm going to get a little bit philosophical here, and I want to talk about objective and subjective reality. What is your stance on that? You are more leaning towards an objective reality than a subjective reality, correct?
I don't know what you mean by objective reality. What do you mean by that?
I mean, you're leaning more towards what you can see, what you can quantify, rather than an interior perspective of how things are, correct?
I base my beliefs on evidence that comes from reality. The exterior world, we can test, we can poke, we can understand, we can study. That's where I get my beliefs from, not from within me. That's biased. I get information from the world around me.
Right, and okay, so then it's more of an objective sense, correct?
I guess you can say that.
Okay,
But
so
what's your point here? What's the
I'll
point?
get to the point. Okay, so where does that objective truth come from, though? Like that objective.
I never said I had access to objective truth. There are different types of truths, by the way, right? You're blanketing all truth as equal. No, there's different degrees of truth, and there's different versions of truth. There's a logical truth, analytical truth, synthetic truths, empirical truths. It depends on the context. And empirically, I don't see any evidence that there's an absolute understanding of the universe that we can derive from empirics. However, I do think that we can come to absolute claims about reality through logic, by definition. Definitional statements can yield absolutes, but what's your point here?
Okay, so my point is that all objective truth in the globalization, comes from a consensus of the subjective truth within humanity. Because if we all have the same brain, if we all have the same drives, we all have come to terms and to a consensus that something is real, that something is defined as such to be because of what we see and what we perceive. But then that would mean that the subjective is also an alternate truth that is
Okay, ma'am, please, ma'am,
true.
ma'am, I don't
as
know
well.
anything. I don't think you understand what you're saying. I think you're
Okay.
lost.
No, I'm not lost. I'm trying
What
to
I would do.
explain to you if you let me finish. So if reality comes from our subjective consensus, right? Our subjective consensus that becomes the objective, then the subjective, which would be what we believe to be true, also has a space to be real. And so many people believing in God then has also a space to be real if your equations are true, if science is real and science comes within us from a consensus subjective to become an objective, then it's also then that would also mean that the subjective of God that cannot be proved or quantified is also real, right?
Make it stop, please. Okay.
No, I'm trying to tell you, I'm not trying to
Oh my
push something
God,
into you.
I'm
I'm
done.
just
I
trying to
can't.
tell you.
Did anybody understand that? Can anybody translate, please? Oh man. Okay. So I'm not gonna deal with that. Okay. Next. I'm done. One more guest.
Oh shit. Hello, Mike. You're an intelligent guy. God is imaginary, correct?
It seems like it.
He was trying to say if everybody has a human trait to want to believe there's a higher greater that exists, who are we to deny that reality? There's something
People,
within us that believe in a higher sense, whatever you want to call it, spiritual, whatever.
yes, and that comes from our imaginary faculties in our brains, right? We evolved to be logical beings. We evolved to be smart beings. We have complex
But
brain
you're
chemistry.
willing to be
Hold
content
on,
on.
hold
Yes,
on,
sir. Go
hold
ahead.
on. Throughout human evolution, we had developed ways of thinking that no other animal had. But the byproduct of this is the faculties that enable imagination and wonder and philosophy. Okay, these are byproducts. We didn't evolve for these traits. They're just simply byproducts of evolving a brain that understands language and pattern recognition, right? This is the byproduct of these things. So yes, there is a part of our DNA that wants to use this imagination. And that's where this idea of God comes from. The idea of God has evolved as we have. It started with humans personifying their world. They looked at animals. They thought that there was somebody behind these things, dictating these things. They looked at the sun. They proclaimed that there is a sun god, a moon god, an earth god, a fire god, a wind god. Humans prescribe personified traits to things around them to make it more sense for them, right? That's how we learn. We personify. We make stories, and that's where God got smuggled in.
Got you.
So
I hear you. I mean, that's
that
one way to be
explains
content
that to me.
about it.
Hold on. That explains to me why humans are more predispositioned to believe in a God, not because God, the idea of God is innate in us, but the imaginary faculties are innate in us. And this is what allows us to imagine these concepts.
Done? You're done, right? I hear you. That's one way to be content about it. But there's so much that we don't know. And I guess that's why that human trait is within us. I don't want to sound like the last interview or whatever, last person that was up here, but I don't know. That's one way to be content about it, Mike. You're a smart guy. I think there's something higher than us. There's something that we cannot
Well, what do you mean
explain.
by higher? Like a airplane, air balloon, like
No,
a
there's
hot air
something
balloon?
that has created us. We've come from
Okay,
something we don't
what do you mean
understand. We
by
can't even begin to
creation?
fathom.
What
Not even that imagination that we believe there's something higher than us can even
what
understand
do
where
you
we might have came from.
sir?
Mm-hmm.
People say there's something higher than me. What does that mean, higher? If you're talking about a being that created us, what's that mean? What's a creation mean? What's a creator mean? These words are used often, but they're very ill-defined. They don't mean anything to me in any sense.
Okay. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Okay. Okie dokie.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you?
Great. What do you got for us?
What is this live again?
There you go. You can read it.
I'm
How old are you?
20.
What year were you born? Okay. It's getting hot in here.
Hi.
All right, what do you got?
Yeah, so I want to ask you a few things. First of all, I looked at your profile. Your bio, you said that you were Christian almost 20 years. You left Christian 20 years ago. Eh?
Yeah, if you want to know my life story, get my book. That's why I wrote it.
Good, you can hear me?
How can I help you?
Yeah, I just wanted to know why you don't believe in God type shit.
No evidence.
Facts. All right, let me ask you another question. Yeah, man, I'm not religious, man. I don't know. I'm an atheist.
All right. Should I do one more person? Oh, so many trolls in the comments. Bemir? He's not up here. I don't see Bemir. You missed Trump, Mike? Debate Q-Top? I did on my YouTube. I did destroy him. You should watch it on YouTube. That's 5,000 views on YouTube. Everybody please subscribe to my YouTube, by the way. Please subscribe. You will not regret it. I have lots of great content. I upload all my debates there so you guys can watch it.
Nobody's subscribing to your YouTube, you stupid fucking bitch. Fuck you.
Aw, he was jealous. I have nearly 5,000 subscribers. How many do you got, buddy? Oh yeah, 0. Next. Oh no, not this guy. King Zudu? It's King Rudu? Hello?
How are you, man?
Good. What do you got?
Great stuff, great stuff. I just wanted to ask you, what are some of the arguments you've actually had for the existence of God?
I don't believe in God.
Okay, no, I understand. I think the question of what are the arguments you've had for the existence of God is different from the postulation that you don't believe in God. But for some of the propositions you've had from TS, what is it that you've heard from TS for the arguments for God?
Okay, can you just give us your argument?
Okay, I think there are a number of good reasons to believe in in the existence of God. I heard somebody actually make an appeal to creation, saying it is a reference and an appeal to creator, and I think that is actually a substantial reason in its own. Because I think if we are to take the alternative, which is atheism, that God doesn't exist, then the existence of everything ultimately is absurd. There's no ultimate meaning, there's no ultimate purpose, there's no
Okay,
ultimate
great.
value.
So what's the ultimate purpose under Christianity?
I think the ultimate purpose is for us eventually to have fellowship with the divine being, who in Christianity is described to be a personal and moral first cause of all things.
Okay. So why do we need a relationship with God? What purpose is that?
I think the reason why we need a relationship with God is so that we can have the opportunity of experiencing the supreme ethic of love. Because I think love.
What's the purpose to that? What's the purpose of love?
I think the purpose of love has a number of reasons. Firstly, the purpose of love allows us to exercise what I think as well is another ethic of free will.
What's the objective purpose that love exists?
I think the objective purpose that love exists is the fact that we are persons and we are very relational in nature. So that in itself is an
See,
appealing
you're
reference
not
to
really
earth.
catching on to what I'm saying to you, right? You just said
Okay.
atheists have no ultimate purpose, but I do because I'm a Christian. Then I asked you, okay, great. What's your purpose? And you said, God, relationship with God. Okay, now I'm saying, why is that a purpose? What purpose is that? Why? Why do we need that purpose? And you're saying, well, I think we need it. You don't have ultimate purpose with God either. There is no ultimate purpose of God existing. Purpose is subjective inherently. It's never, there's no ultimate purpose with or without Christianity. And just there being a God doesn't mean that purpose exists.
Okay, now I hear what you're saying. It means then in the atheistic framework, then purpose, meaning, love, and value, all of those things are subjective to the atheist. Is that the case?
All purpose is subjective, whether or not you're a Christian or Muslim or atheist or Hindu. That's all subjective to me.
Oh, okay. So I think let me present this then in that case. Since value, purpose, and all those things are substantially subjective in the atheistic framework, if I go to the segment of value, for instance, which helps me decide what is wrong and right, is wrong and right then a subjective preference as well?
Yeah.
So if I were to kill someone today, have I done anything objectively wrong, or that's something just wrong, preferably?
There is no objectively right or wrong way to live. It's all subjective to me. Can you demonstrate that there's objective morality?
Oh, okay. You were saying? Sorry, I didn't hear your last statement there. I apologize.
Can you demonstrate that it is objectively wrong to do any action?
I think it's objectively wrong to do certain actions, like for instance, the example that I've made, the violation of somebody else's life. And
I know you think that. I'm asking you, can you demonstrate that it is objectively wrong, right? Can you show it to me? That it's objectively wrong. Can you prove it?
Yes. I believe that there is a substantial reason as to believing in that. When I kill somebody today, even the courts of law will make an appeal to justice because they have a sense of moral right and wrong on an objective sense. It doesn't matter, I think, where you are in this world. If I were to take somebody's life, justice will appeal to a certain objective wrong and right. Otherwise, they wouldn't necessarily do that.
Okay, great. Are you a Christian, sir?
Yes, I'm Christian because I believe there are a number of reasons why Christianity is reliable.
So when God says in Exodus 21:7 that we can own children as sex slaves, is that good or bad to you, objectively?
Please do help me with something. Which biblical passage is that?
Exodus 21:7.
Okay, you don't mind if I quickly went to Exodus 21:7? Is that all right, or am I taking too much time?
Go ahead. Take a look at your Bible.
Okay, man, I appreciate the few seconds you've given me, man. Let me just quickly go to appreciate. Thanks, man. Exodus 20. Cheers, man. Exodus 21, verse 7, right? Okay. Yeah, I'm already on Exodus 21. Let me just go to verse 7. And he said, and if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave, he shall not go out as the male slaves do. Oh, okay. I see the passage here. All right. Let me ask this question. Do you think what Exodus 21 verse 7 is prescribing as a law, well, seemingly from God here, is actually an objective wrong?
Oh, really? Even though God allows it? Exodus law is God's law, right? This is the Old Testament law. This is God's law. Just like Levitical law, it's God's law.
Yes, I understand. True that. Yes. So I want to understand from your view, I promise I won't take much of your time. I'll be out in the next few minutes, man. I just wanted to find out, do you think Exodus 21 verse 7 in its prescribed law to the nation of Israel is an objectively morally wrong law?
No, see, what I'm doing is an internal critique. I'm asking you. You're
Yes,
you're
yes,
proclaiming. Hold on, sir. You're
yes.
proclaiming that you are proclaiming that there is an objective right, an objective wrong, and I'm asking you in your Bible, is there something wrong? And I asked you, hey, there's this is a verse where it allows you to have a sex slave as a child. This is pedophilia. Do you think that's objectively wrong, sir? And if yes, you're saying you disagree with God's law. So which is it? Do you agree with God on this one, or you don't agree with God on a child rape?
Oh no, I understand. I understand. The the contextual reason of Exodus 21 verse 7, I do not understand what was happening and to which nation God was talking to over here. I'll go into that myself and I'll make some investigation. But thanks for using that as reference. I think it's a good critique.
But the funny thing is, look at how easy it is to point holes into your belief system. Like, look at how a hefty claim that is to make that my book is objectively right. And I pointed to one single verse and I got you stuttering. You don't know what to do. That is a bad red flag. That's a huge fucking red flag, right? Like, whereas under my system, it's like, yeah, it's subjective to me. It's wrong. It's always wrong to grape. That's my opinion. Done.
I think the reason why
For you, it's so hard. You have to come up with all these excuses, these apologetics. Oh, that was a different context. To me, it's easy. It's always wrong to own a child as a slave. Always wrong. It's my opinion. We're done.
Okay, I think can I just ask you the last question and I'm out. The reason why I think the case still remains, bro, is because although you're using a moral reason to actually deny the biblical text, I wonder, why is it that you do that if morality is all just subjective? Why do you use moral references within Exodus to deny
Because I'm
Exodus and the
pointing
existence
flaws
of God?
within your own system. This is called an internal criticism. I'm
Yes,
taking a
yes.
look at your own book and pointing out fallacies in your own system. It doesn't
Yes,
matter
yes.
about what I believe. It's the point that your own system is flawed. That's the entire point. There's no consistency in your view. And that's the point, right? Does that make sense?
Okay. No, I see what you say. No problem. Okay. Is it all right if someday we spoke again? Not for
Sure, of
persuasion or
course. I
anything, but just
appreciate,
for more of this.
yes, I
Yes.
appreciate you being very kind with me. Thank you.
All a pleasure, man. Enjoy it. I appreciate it, man.
Good. And keep learning.
Cheers.
Keep reading. Keep learning. Good for you. All right. We have a lot of people today, so I guess I'll do one more guest for you guys. I'm really.
Hello?
Hi.
19. Oh, wait, I just turned 20, actually. My fault. But yeah, 20. I was going to say 19, but I just turned 20 on
Okay.
February.
What do you got? What do you got for us?
So I just want to know why you don't think it's, you just think it's a joke and that this world is just straightforward. Like, there's no God. It's just the universe.
Well, let's try. Hey, God, are you there? If you're real, God, show yourself to me right now, God, if you're real.
You don't think that's kind of like just childish?
Okay, he's not there, so I guess he's not real. Like, this is like, how do we
works.
know that God's there, right? How do we get to God existing?
It's a thing with faith. All right, it's a relationship with God.
The bad F word. Okay.
You actually have to put in your heart and soul. Like, you have to actually believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're
God,
actually
I really believe in you. With all my heart and soul.
Look, like,
please reveal yourself to me, God.
It's not, bro. Come on, don't be doing
Okay, it's not there. It's still not there. Now what?
Look, I'm trying to say that if you're a believer in Christ, like, it's a thing with faith. Like, you have to.
Okay, it's about faith. Okay. You have faith in God.
Okay.
And you think faith is evidence of God. Well, I can just say, I have faith that there's no God.
That's not how it works.
And now there's no God because I had faith in no God. Yay! See, I win now, right? See how ridiculous faith is? It doesn't get you to reliable results. It doesn't lead you to truth in a reliable way because anybody can do it. Anybody can have faith. It's easy, too easy.
Hmm. Yeah, when you're like closed-minded like that, then the conversation is not going to go anywhere.
I'm not closed-minded. I'm just skeptical about your claims that you're making because they're based on no evidence. They're baseless. They're mindless.
You're mindless.
Yeah, it does not take any brain power to say I have faith in God. Anybody can do that. Anybody with a brainstem can do that.
Really? I mean, when you get what I'm saying, it's not just that easy. Like, it's not something you just wake up and say.
Then demonstrate that God exists. Give me evidence of God.
I can't give you. I mean, Jesus was alive. He was crucified. We know that. There's evidence of that, and he is our God. So
who cares? Who cares about some guy who died on a stick?
Okay. Wow. Like, I'm actually like, God, I hope God touches your heart. Like, for real. Like, that is just...
No, I want to keep my heart intact. I don't want him to touch it.
Like, what is wrong with you, bro? Come on.
It's called education. Yeah, it's education because you're asking bad questions, right? You don't know. You have a very limited scope of what's going on around you, so you think I'm crazy because I ask questions that you can't even ask.
Know me, and you're saying you think that I have no.
Then give evidence of God. Look, it's this easy. It should not be this hard, sir. Sir,
it's not.
It shouldn't be this hard. All you have to do to convince me is give evidence. That's all you have to do.
So
I'm not closed-minded.
Spirituality, and you don't understand that there's no way we're going anywhere. You think it's just
look.
I'm gonna just get Jesus right there.
Look, sir.
Right now, like what?
I want to know things that are real and true about reality. That's what benefits us.
It's not about reality that we're only.
Okay, well then I don't care about what you're saying because it's not real. You're just making up shit in your mind.
You're right.
I don't want to do that. I want real.
You're right. God bless you, bro. Like one day, you will.
Yeah, you'll bow down and suck God off. Yeah. See, people are so quick to assume that I'm a bad person or I'm the evil person because they themselves don't understand what's going on or my perspective. I know your perspectives. I used to be Christian. I know your perspective. But it seems like Christians and theists, they don't understand where we're coming from for the most part. They don't understand the bigger picture. And they don't understand skepticism. They don't understand science. That's why they're asking these bad questions. That's why they think I'm the bad guy. I'm the devil, right? That's why Christians, you're the devil, you're the bad person. Because their ignorance is showing, right? That's just a revelation of their ignorance. That's their, and it's sad. But that's why I hope that you all learn, educate yourselves. You learn about the world around you. Learn about people. Learn about animals. Learn about the world. Learn about the earth. Learn about planets, stars, galaxies, space, time. Learn. That will allow you to ask better questions. So, I'm not here to say there's no God. I am not here to say you're bad for believing in God. I'm here to say maybe there's another route to the truth, right? Maybe there's another pathway that you're not seeing, right? So although it might seem like I'm being dismissive, I'm not. It's just that I've heard these arguments before and they're easy to pick apart. I care about facts and I'm so hard on myself. The reason why I'm hard on people is because I'm hard on myself. I would never let myself just believe in things that sound good to me. I always stop myself. I would love to sit there and believe that one day a guy's going to come down from the heavens and save me, and I'm going to be a millionaire, and I'm going to be peaceful in heaven forever. That's so appealing. I would love to believe that. But I stop myself every time because that's coming from biased plays. And not only is it not lead to truth, but it actually hinders your ability to appreciate the world around you. Knowledge, I found in my life, every time I learn about something, I appreciate the universe more. There's a profound impact that knowledge and education has on somebody. I mean, it changed our world. The reason why we are talking to each other is because somebody who got educated and learned about the world designed this phone and was able to use science to produce these things that we're using. So education and knowledge are tools that can change our lives, and that's why I care about them. When was the last time you heard the Bible producing a car or a plane, or medicine, or a solution to a problem, climate change? When's the last time you saw the Bible be used to actually help people? And not just say it, oh, one day I'll help you, but actually do it, right? The Bible says that Jesus can save the blind, but scientists are actually doing it, right? So there's a difference between saying things and promising things and actually doing things. And that's why science is useful in so many ways, because it actually gets shit done. It gets shit done that religion thinks it got done already. And that's the funny, ironic part. Guys, the world is mysterious. The world is a mystery. It really is. Trust me. I'm not here to say I have it all figured out. Nobody does. And who knows what the truths can be, all the truths about reality can be. I mean, there's so many possibilities. But at the same time, we have to be cautious before we start believing in things that may not be true. Coming to conclusions that we want to be true. We projecting our emotions, projecting ourselves onto things, projecting our desires, our expectations. So, as an atheist, I have all this in mind. And for that, I appreciate the world more. I appreciate people more. I appreciate humans more. I appreciate Earth, nature, the world around me, life. Every day I wake up proud to be human, proud to be alive. Because I have a chance to live. And this might be the last time I live, right? We're running against the clock here, right? And there's a driver every day in my life to do something important, to do something good, to help somebody. Because not only do we have a finite time here, but I fucking appreciate the world around me. I really do. Beyond anything that religion can do for me. There's a deep sense of appreciation that only science and understanding the world can really give you. The amount of reverence I have for the universe, the amount of awe and wonder and mystery continuously driving me, makes me happy. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here to share this perspective with you guys, that not only are there better answers out there, but there's a better way of living out there. There's a better way, there's a more fulfilling way of living, that one in which you don't need religion for. It's profound. It's life-changing. look at how many people treat each other like trash, right? Look at how many people in this world treat each other like objects, you know? But look at who we are. That's it. That's us. That's our home. That's our planet. On that one planet, everybody you've ever known, everyone you love, every person that's ever existed, lived out their lives in that one pale blue dot. You know, from this perspective, there doesn't seem to be some cosmic reason that we exist. This doesn't seem to be the reason why the universe exists to me, right? It seems like this is just a dot, and there's a billion trillion more. Look how lonely we are. Look how isolated it is. Look how fragile it is, just floating in this deep ocean of darkness and void and nothingness. And you're going to tell me that the universe was made for that one little dot? I'm sorry, but this cosmic perspective utterly dwarfs any religious perspective to me. This perspective shows us that all we have is that one dot. All we have is each other. All we have is the people we love. Think of all the atrocities, all the suffering, all the pain that we cause each other, so that fractions of a dot can fight another fraction of a dot, not even pixels. That is petty. That's sad. This is a humbling perspective that religion does not teach us. It teaches the opposite. You can't get this humility from the Bible. It just doesn't teach you this. It teaches you the opposite. It teaches you that we're the center. But this perspective, one in which it's real, this is the real world. This is reality. And it challenges the notion that we are the center. That's utterly challenged by this pale blue dot. So to me, this dot shows me that we should take care of each other. We should be not so quick to hate each other, but hopefully understand each other more. Recognize that all we have is that dot. We all share it. Let's take care of it. Let's take care of each other. So, we're all traveling through this space-time together. Let's make it good. Let's make it fun. Let's make it a good one. It might be all we got. And if it's not, great. But at least for the time being, we did something legendary. We did something worthy. We traveled, we explored, we loved, we helped each other, right? We did something amazing. This is deep, profound. You can't get this from the Bible. You just can't. This is something that you just cannot get from the Bible. That's all I'm here for, right? I'm here to show you guys that there's another way of seeing things. You just can't get this from the Bible or the Quran. So, enjoy, guys. Enjoy your lives. And whatever the answer is, don't be scared of the mystery. Let's embrace it. So that's where we are. We live in this mystery together. Let's figure out the answers honestly. Let's be honest with each other. So every time I see that dot, it's just incredible, right? It's just think of all the people that died. Think of all the tragedies, all the horror. But think of all the potential, all the great things we've done, all the things we have done and accomplished as a society. You know, it's a different dimensional perspective.